Hello there, Mary.
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I am good.
Good, good. It's really fun here as we get things started off with, um, hey, I'm enjoying that we and you are getting some time together, to be in these spaces and to play out, right? Um,
hmm
it's fun for me because, how do I say it? I'm both grateful and I want to also acknowledge you. The gratitude that I have is like I'm glad that I get to spend time with Mary and like this is there's time on the calendar where I'm available to be of support and also to be in conversation with people, and so I'm really grateful that I get to be in conversation with you and that you're like I'm gonna take him up on this. Like if he's there, I'm gonna be there. And there was a time that you came in and I wasn't there, and you're like, "Hey, where are you?" You know, uh, and I really I'm really taking that in. Um, I'm grateful for that because I'm like, it's good to be in these conversations. As the World Joy movement is getting started, it also is good for me to see like, how do I say it? I am learning how one single person, can actually change everything. All right, because, and I'm not like, there's no, how do I say it? I'm going to share something with you because I want to share it with you specifically. You're the person that I would like to acknowledge and share it with. Um, but it doesn't mean that we need to that there's any obligation. You don't even need to stay for the rest of this conversation, But you are here, and I am feeling this, and I want to make sure that I express it because um, you may not know the impact that you're having, and I want to let you know the impact that you're having that's beyond the time that we spend here together. Are you good with that? All
I'm good.
right, cool. I'm like, welcome to the conversation. Boom, here we go. Right. Um, the what I want to make sure I'm communicating is like how one person can this movement is going to continue to grow. And as time goes on, I'm seeing different people come and join a single session, or like there may be times we have more than one person that's there. And it's actually really interesting being at this like in the beginning stages of this, seeing just like who's come in, what's getting people there, what's happening in our systems to make sure people know in advance, what are we doing with our timing, so on and so forth. Starting next week, we'll be having probably about two sessions a day, one in your morning, one in your evening, so that we can get just a little bit more variety in terms of people's choices and time, right? Um, and there's an infinite difference between having one person show up whenever she's able to show up, or whenever she feels like showing up, right? Whenever she feels called to, and no one's showing up. There's an infinite difference. Like there's a knowing within me of like, oh, okay, great. Like the movement's moving. Like there's not only is there hypothetical value, but like when you and I come together, every time we talk, there's something new that comes out of the conversation for both of us. And my general thing is it gives me a chance it's important right now as I'm setting out with vision and purpose, to have essentially the first follower, right? It's like, great, you're dancing, you're a lone nut making all these conversations, at this time of day, and you're picking up topics and whatever it is. I'll be your first follower. I'll come dance along with you, you know? And that's what I want to acknowledge. I want to acknowledge you for being, such a, I wouldn't say my gratitude for you being the first follower. Um, there are things that I'm developing. There are things that come out of our conversations that actually, and this is how I operate. It's like that's going to shape what comes next. It's like we talked about this here. Awesome. Like let's bring this. Like because of our conversations, I'm like I'm going to bring coaching into this space. You know, I wasn't planning on it before. I wasn't really sure if it was going to like really be here. I was like, no, I think coaching really works in this space here. There's a lot that comes from it. So I want to acknowledge you from the standpoint, especially because in the World Joy movement, a lot of us are figuring out how do we make our impact in the world. Like, so our conversations are like helping, like seeing the different visions and that we have, and how do we bring that vision and start bringing it out to life in different ways. And I want to just like reflect back right now, just like the impact of that with one person, how much energy like that continues to give me specifically, and then what and then the movement overall as it's fueling things and getting things out into the world. So that is, I needed to acknowledge you. I'm glad to acknowledge you. I'm glad that we can be in this conversation. Please don't feel any obligation in any way. Just keep doing whatever you're doing, like in terms of when you decide to come or not. But I want to just make sure I spoke that because it's been the two of us in a number of conversations as we get started. And at the same time, like for me, I feel complete every single time. Great. That's been said. There's no need for a response. I just want to make sure that I state that there. Great. So let's move into today. Today the topic at hand was renewal culture, right? I think we can play in a couple different ways. Let me go ahead. What I'll do is I'll set the frame for renewal culture, and then we'll enter into the conversation as we need to. It could be, yeah. Let's just start with that. So right now we're going through a really interesting period where the ability to be canceled comes up, and I think that like it's important to take some time to just kind of define like what do I mean by canceled in this part here. To be canceled would be like your brand, your name, whatever it is, to actually be kind of boycotted throughout the social world, throughout just out in the world as like, from now on, this person, this brand, we're just boycotting them point blank. And then we get into cancel culture. And I had a conversation with some friends around this. And for me, there was a distinction between like canceling and cancel culture. I think it's important to bring that distinction in. The cancel culture portion, canceling is the act of boycotting, let's call it that in a broad state here. And calling, and not just boycotting, but calling forth others to also participate in it. Right? Cancel culture is the culture of what I would define as, if it's something that if you don't like, then you call on others to boycott it. So it's the cultural movement, the cultural like experience of choosing to cancel things overall. Right? Does that make sense? Does that distinction make sense there?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I thought it was the distinction ended up being important for me, where it's like there's one thing to cancel things, and there's another thing to cancel it because it's the culture of canceling. It's because it's one thing to say like, no, this is something that should be canceled, and another thing to be like, well, don't cancel me or you're going to cancel. Like it's like for it to just be simply what's in the air, where like we can go about and cancel just because, or it's because it's a thing that we do, right? And so the conversation for me is less about like canceling or cancel culture, but really the space for us in the Will Joy movement to look at, is there something more powerful? Is there something else that we can add to the mix, at least, beyond canceling? And the thought that came to mind here was like, well, if I wasn't canceling something, what would I be doing? I'll be renewing something. I'll be coming in and giving it like new life, be calling attention to something that really should actually be brought forth into light even further, helping to take these things that have been canceled and saying, okay, what do we need to do in order to have you be renewed out in the world? And I think that can apply the idea of a culture of that, where we're actually going around and we're actively looking to lift things up, as opposed to a culture that is that's in the space of canceling things. That to me felt like it'd be like a really interesting space to explore and to dive into here with us here. All that being said, this space is not the intellectual, interesting, hypothetical conversations there. That's not really what this space like thrives on. Like we can have like it's an interesting construct, renewal culture, cancer culture, all that. It's all made up though. I think the elements here that would be really meaningful and enjoyable for me is to look at this within ourselves to see what is it that within us we've been canceling. What is it within us that like could use some space for renewal? And as I lean into that, I see some elements of renewal coming in within me around I had canceled my background as an actuary. I'd canceled my background of like being mathematically inclined, of forecasting, of predicting, of modeling, of being in spreadsheets and so on and so forth. And now I'm looking to bring that back as and renewing it in a meaningful way within the business as there's some certain things that actually get automated and things that I actually rely on the capabilities of my Excel experience to make possible. It allows me to actually create different systems. So we can explore that a little bit further, but I wanted to set up a space here around renewals for ourselves and to give ourselves a chance to be able to explore a bit of what we've been canceling for in our life, either personally or in our world. And then from that conversation of the world that we have influence over, we can make any other kind of connections and drawings to a larger mural, a larger picture there. So let me pause there. Let me pause and just check in with you overall, Mary, as we enter this room here. Um, does anything come alive in you as I describe that? Is anything like, is there any energy? Does that feel like a fun conversation for you? If not, we can choose something. We can choose to create this space however we choose to create it.
Sounds interesting. I don't know. I think I have something outside of this conversation going on in the background of my head that's kind of a block. I mean, like getting in the way, and I'm not like fully present enough. Um, and I was just thinking, like, what have I been canceling? And I can think more of what I want to renew more so than what I've been canceling. Um, yeah, I'm just feel like I need to listen more now. I don't know. I feel a
I got
little
you.
off. I feel a little off, and I'm trying to bring it, use my elemental energy and bring it back here. Like physically, I feel my eye twitching. I don't know why that it happens every now and then. And I forgot the background of it and what I usually do and why it does that. I don't know. I think I was just determined, like, I'm going to World Joy today. I'm not at work this evening and I'm going. And I was doing little stuff, messing with my nails and got a little frustrated about it. We were like, oh, World Joy moment time. Um, but I've been in a lot of conversation today with various people. I hadn't had that in a while, like real conversations. Well, I mean, I've had them, but they're like shorter. I've had longer conversations with different people today throughout my day. Um, so it's a little different. Usually I'm minimal conversations, like people that want to really sit and talk. So it's kind of like, oh, when I come here, it's like, oh, yay, I'll get a conversation. um, but now that I've had more, it's like, okay, how many conversations today. I mean, I started off my morning with a conversation, got a phone call, and it was like, oh, wow, I didn't expect this because I was actually I was planning on trying to make it to the morning things. I was like, oh, they started it. Oh, there's a morning thing, and I want to try to make it. And then I got a phone call, and I was like, okay, I guess this was meant to be. And it's like from the beginning to now, it's been conversation after conversation after conversation. Um, and it's been enlightening because it's like me bringing joy to people. And some boy I walked in the store with a guy was like, he was just looked like frantic, turning red, sweating, bullets. And I'm like, he's like, what can I help you? When I said, first of all, pause and breathe. And he was like, whew, like, thank you. And then I told him what I wanted and helped him, told him where it was because I'm a frequent customer. He's like a new um, worker. And I told him, you're doing a good job. You're really doing good. Don't freak out about it. You don't have to be in a rush. We're the customers. We're here because we want what you have. And he thanked me. And he said, I really needed to hear that and wish me a wonderful, happy day. And I was like, yeah, that's what's joyful. And it was kind of like a renewing there. Um, just knowing that a couple little words, a mini conversation makes a difference in my day, the next person's day, and keeping moving forward. And who knows what happened after who else came in the store that could have trickled down to the next person. And now that I've talked, I've said that I thought I need to listen more, but I feel a little more calmer and more present now.
Well, there's a few things here, Mary. Thank you. I think there's an element of like, okay, how do we come into the room? We've had our conversation, so I just kind of jumped in. I'm like, boom.
Mm-hmm.
But did we actually create the world joy space? You know, a space where you can actually enter the conversation. It's like actually you had, full day. It's been a full day that's gone on, and here goes I love the word you said, determined. You're like, I'm determined to be here. I was like, okay, that has its own energy to it. And so I just want to acknowledge the the ways of setting up this conversation. And I'm really part of the reason why these types of conversations feel different than others is because we actually keep creating the space and container that we're in. And we help people actually arrive. Today we didn't do that. And that's really wonderful for me to be able to be in, to see that it's like, oh, there will be a time where I feel we can just jump in, because I'm like, let's just do the thing. And it is it is important only always to make sure that we actually have people who've actually arrived in the room, and we've actually set the space and container for it. Because I can just start running at times. I'm like, come on in the conversation. It's like, I think I just need to like breathe and sit down and be like, do I want to be here? Like, what am I listening to? All that stuff there. So I want to just like give space to that, give acknowledgement to that, because how we create these conversations is important. Right now, and so we didn't do that beforehand. We can do that at any moment. I'm someone that's like, let's just take the time to do what's needed here. And I heard that you were doing some work with the elements that we talked about in the past. Um, how are you right now in terms of being in this conversation?
I'm taking breaths and focusing on my breaths so that I can be there more, because at first my mind was like, and that's normally how it is, just everywhere. And it takes a lot for me to focus in on one single thing.
Mhm.
And when I know it's like way off, more than the 50 different things, it's now 100 or more. I'm like, ooh, I need to breathe. um, so I've been breathing since like your fourth or fifth sentence. Um,
Yeah. Would you be open for us breathing together here for a bit?
oh, cool.
Yeah. Let's not add anything new for a little while. Uh, what I'm being led to in this moment is to give a space to breathe with each other, and then just ask one simple question that we can both take some time to listen to, right? And just give ourselves like slow us down into that space a bit, okay? And then whatever the answer is, or whatever question that comes as a result of that question, we move forward, we complete, we whatever it is, but we take it from there. Are you good with that?
Good.
All right, cool. So let's give ourselves a chance to just really firstly just feel the support in our life as we start with the support in our environment. Allow your feet to come to the ground, to sit in your chair, to feel the support of your chair on you. Feel the support of your skeleton on you. Yeah, you don't have to be anywhere other than just be in you right now, right? And allow yourself to really just settle into yourself and bring your attention to your breath. Let's give some time for you to focus on the way that your breath feels as it enters your body, as it exits your body. Give some time and attention to where your breath travels in terms of the end destination. Maybe you feel it in your chest. Maybe you're breathing deep into your belly. Maybe you're breathing deep all the way down to the soles of your feet. Wherever it is for now, let's just give time to acknowledge, bring that there. No need to change anything, but we'll just acknowledge. And as you're taking these breaths, go ahead and allow yourself to actually see and feel the journey of the breath from the very beginning when it first enters and every millimeter that it travels towards its end destination. And just follow your breath for a while, literally going down the journey of your body from if you're breathing in from the nose, it's the back of your throat, all the way down your esophagus. Feel it all the way as it moves through your body. And just connect with just the simplicity of life, the simplicity of support, a simple breath in, a simple breath out. That's it. There's nothing else that's needed. And as you breathe in, allow your breath to continue to go further down through you. Allow it almost as though you're not breathing into you, but you're breathing through you. Breathing through to, if you're starting from your head and breathing through your nose, and breathe through the center of the earth. If you are someone who breathes in a different direction and you're breathing from the soles of your feet, breathe up through you, through all the way into the universe. Maybe you can even go ahead and have a little bit of fun and alternate. Breathe from the universe through you down to the center of the earth, and then breathe from the center of the earth through you back up into the universe. And just exchange your breath, exchange your energy beyond you in an area of connection, in an area of channeling. Just allowing breath to be what it is as it moves through you. There's not even any work to get done. Just in and the out. And feel the connection here, the groundedness of the deepest parts of the earth all the way to the elevatedness of the deepest parts of the universe, depths of it all. And feel yourself in your breath connecting with all of that. Feel yourself in your breath being a conduit, a channel, a through line, connected in the most grounded and in the most elevated ways out there. And as you are feeling that, allow that feeling to grow beyond you, to expand within. And then as it expands, it almost gets to the end of your skin and grows beyond that. As you continue exchanging your breath, the universe down through you, expanding to the center of the earth, back through the soles of your feet and beyond. And I'll invite you to do two things here. One, you've had a tremendous day of conversation. What is one thing that you're grateful for from today? And I want you to go back to that experience, like relive it. Give yourself the experience of the gift of reliving that moment. Let's capture some of the gratitude for the day that you had. You thought it was going to be one way, and then someone was already thinking of you as your morning even started. There's so many other things that took place today. What are you grateful for? And if it helps to go beyond today, go into a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 10 years ago. Let's let's give you a chance to get into what are you grateful for right now, and then relive that moment. What did you see? What was going on around you? Just take some time to integrate the gratitude around it. A smile might even creep up on your face at some point. You're just like in the joy of that. As you're living and you're reliving that moment, I'm going to invite you to allow your mind to now go to a second moment of gratitude at any time in your life. One moment that if you really allowed yourself to, you can be truly grateful for. And then go be in that moment. It could be a really small experience, or it could be something completely massive and life changing. Give yourself the space and spirit to really just be in that and relive. What did you see? What did you experience? How did it feel? How did it taste? How did it smell? Just allow yourself to be enveloped in that moment and the gratitude of that moment. Take it in, be with it. And allow that to expand within you, that feeling of gratitude. We're going to go right now then to a third moment. One more moment in your life that you can be truly grateful if you allowed yourself to be. So it might be a moment that you haven't even thought of for a while. But little did you know how much it would mean to you. And it just made itself present. It just presented itself to you right now. Go ahead and really get in touch with that moment. Give yourself a chance to breathe into it, to relive it, to experience it, to be with it. And feel the gratitude growing within you. Feel the moment, the feelings you were feeling then. Just allow yourself to be grateful, so grateful for this experience there. And live it up as though that moment is happening right now. Gratitude, joy, abundance. And then we'll play a little bit. I want you to now to just let your mind go to a coincidence. Go ahead and keep your eyes closed if you like. You can open it if you feel complete. But if you like to continue, we can go here. Like you just think of a coincidence that's occurred for you. Something that you didn't actually expect to happen. It just took place. Something that led to A coincidence that led to a better result that you thought of. Coincidence that led you to a place where something was unexpected and life was just working for you. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to try. All you had to do is it just showed up. Just like connect with the moment here of like life just working for you. It's like couldn't have planned it any better if you tried. Find one coincidence in your life and just really connect with that moment. Go back, relive it, think about how the impact of that moment, how that's led to different opportunities. Maybe it's a business opportunity. Maybe it was a relationship. Maybe it was a an idea that came to you. There, just allow yourself to be in the space of acknowledging one coincidence that's had a tremendous impact in your life. And perhaps it was not just a coincidence. Perhaps you were guided to that moment. And now that we're in this space, I want to ask you one question. Keep your eyes closed. Allow it to be with you. Keep feeling the feelings of gratitude, feeling the feelings of serendipity working in your favor. The world is working with you. Feel connected as your breath is coming in and out. And I would like you to just ask your heart a question. This is a question that your heart knows. Ask your heart, what do I need right now to be renewed? What do I need right now to be renewed? And just allow your heart to tell you what it tells you, to share what it shares. My invitation to you is to simply listen from that point. And I'm going to actually be quiet so that you can listen. Heart, what do I need to be renewed? And when you're done listening, you can go ahead, open your eyes, and we'll continue. Take as long as you need. Some people have taken 15 minutes. It's like, I'm in no rush. I'm here with you. What is your heart telling you? Let's just take one breath together as we come back here, both of us. Just breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth as we come back and we see where we go in this conversation, if at all. All right. We'll do this here in three, two, one. Welcome back, Mary. Um, thank you for letting it be known that breathing and listening like was something we can bring into this space. Let me let me I wanted to check in with you, not even check in, but I want to see where you are. What's not with something like this is not about what did you think about or what were the answers that came up for you specifically. If something like that is meaningful for you and you want to share it, feel free by all means, but this is not a debrief of what just happened over there. We're going to let the experience be something that let that experience be what it is and see what, if anything, did it bring into this space. And it's okay if nothing, if it was just like I did it but I felt nothing from it, you know. Where are you now in the conversation? Let me make sure we're on the same. I want to see where you're at. Is that the question I have? Let me just check in on that. I actually found myself wondering about that question. I'm going to take that question back. Here it is. We've honored in just this exchange the intent of this conversation. And so if there was going to be something that would really serve you or would really excite you to create in this space or outside, where would we need to take the conversation? Even if, and this is important for me, even if it's like, no, I'm complete. I'm good to go. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go journal. I'm going to go draw. Like I'm done. I'm complete. And I've gotten what I'm here for. So let me just ask, let's steer the ship here together. What would really serve you? What would you love to create? Where should we head from here? I can see you thinking. So I'm going to ask you this question here. What is your heart telling you right now? What is your heart telling you in this very moment?
Find out the how to the answers I just got.
And why is that important in this moment?
Because I'm going to share that what I realized when I asked my heart, what do I need most? And at first it was, I needed the same support and love and care and energy from at least one other person that I give out to others. And then it became that I need to grow and learn to give that to myself. I want to find a way to get back to one of my moments that I went back to was when I was about maybe 8. I think it was my birthday, or at least a birthday party, where I got everything that I wanted, and I had the outfit and my hair from head to toe, including the jewelry, the purse, and there's tons of pictures from it. I don't remember much about that day. I just remember what I was wearing and how happy and so much fun it was. What was fun? I don't know. Like what activities? I know there was probably cake, probably coconut cake, and everybody made it all about me. It was my day. Mary was happy. I was really exuberant. And I had been like that all the previous time of my life. That was just like a celebration of all that time that I've always been that happy. Then I started to think about the exercise, and I said, no, that's thought, that's not heart, that's not brain. But what shift? My analytical me, and that's what I am. What shift to being so hyper analytical and restless and I still always did for others, but like adamant about making everybody else's lives better. I know some of the events that happened in my life, and I'm thinking I always thought, and people have tried to help me that those were the things that's what shifted in me, but I still feel that it was one little single thing that flipped the switch for me within, not one thing that happened around me, but either something I thought or something I felt, either my heart or mind or something flipped that switch to earth and the world and coming down to the ground, but always still rose. I put a lot of work and education to being grounded and peace, but my actions have always, and my mindset and my um, even encouragement to others always been to be elevated above ground and just float up there. And it's been what I thought was freedom. Now I'm coming to realize it was more of an escape temporarily. I'm like, what's so scary about the ground? It actually is what I said I wanted and needed to be grounded. But then I was thinking about that this morning. Now that I just thought about it, after my second conversation, is that like why I'm I'm yearning for being grounded. I feel more grounded, but there's part of me that's like, I'm not sure I want to be that. There's no fun in that. Where's the excitement? I was like, I think I am like escaping from it and saying I want to get back to it, but yet I'm running from it. Really, all my actions and behaviors, the mindset says I'm running from it. I'm like, that's not fun. I want to go bungee jumping internally and skydive and fly with the birds and, you know, feel the rush. I don't want to be grounded like that. It's boring. It's responsible. It will get me to things that I probably feel I suffer for, the things that I hurt about. Um, that I told with the struggle, the like thinking about finances and relationships and stuff that, okay, being more grounded, I'd be more rational and less emotional. And, but I have been less emotional because I keep my emotions kind of in this little thing. So That's where my emotions is actually at the ground. Those roots and those trees that I talked about before, and the inside with the light. That's my emotions. And I thought it is don't be emotional. I was actually told that as a kid. Um, but I'm starting to realize that that's also my spirit. It's not just feelings and emotion. It's a spirit. It's an energy. And for me, it's at the ground, and I'm trying to run from it. That's where, if I want to be grounded and be more responsible,
You see me smiling right now, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
if I wanted to be grounded and be more responsible, then I should lean into my emotional spirit. That is the really fun and exciting part for me. And now I have both. I'll be fun and exciting, but I'll be quote unquote grounded. But it won't be boring.
Mm. You know, Mary, as you were talking, there was the reason the smile came up here was like it's the I'm tracking your energy, right? So I'd say we have multi-dimensional conversations with me, right? So there's the content and the
Mm-hmm.
context, right? And it is you can feel the energetic shift, your tone of voice changes, the body language changes, you even use air quotes, you're like grounded, you know, it's like I'll be this thing, I guess. So I guess I'll be the grounded element of it all. And what I'm hearing from you right now is it's the it's a phenomenon that I call I'll call in this case here um, grounding the high flyer, grounding the high flyer. Uh, I experienced like as you were talking, I'm like, oh yeah, well, let me just say it this way. There are a number of people who in their lives, let me just even hear it from you, like you're a high flyer. You're someone who like was able to fly above everything, see things from above the trees in some of our last conversations. Like generally speaking, if you wanted to create something, you can be at one point and then fly over and get it done. You know? And it was like, and life was like you were able to out like live life and be successful in that place. And then at some point, and I think this is where you're saying like the analytical part of you is like, I need to know when, I need to know why, I need to know that very moment. But at some point there was a switch that went off that said it's almost as though like gravity just like hit you. You're like, I'm flying, 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 and now I need to be grounded. And to me, as I hear it, like I've seen it, I've hear it. It shows up in my clients a lot as well, with like this element of like, actually, I was doing wonderfully flying. Things like I was getting into rooms that no one would have expected me to be in. I had opportunities coming to me, all that. And then eventually at some point, I don't remember when, something happened and I switched that around. I started being grounded. The way I describe it, it's almost as though like you're a bird that like knows that you need to migrate down south for the winter, and you've done it every year. You're like, I'm gonna migrate down south to the winter, and one day you're at a bird, you're at a dinner with some of your friends who weren't birds, and they're like, ah. Can't wait to get down to the south here. I'm going to be driving down here. Did you get all the directions ready? Like, oh yeah, let me get all the directions. Like, did you pack everything? Like, and all like you start hearing a different way of getting down south, and it almost like makes you think as a bird here, and this is a bit abstract, but I think you can be with me, that it's like, oh, I haven't figured out the directions yet. I don't even know what I'm packing. I don't know the route to go. That there's going to be highways. What time do I have to leave? And all of a sudden you get grounded, and it's a completely different thing. You find yourself trying to drive over to a place that it takes you 18 hours to get to, when you used to just be able to fly in the air
I'm
with
like,
other people
wait a
around you, get the
minute.
tail drop.
I'm a bird. I don't have to do all this crap.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's like what I'm calling in here right here. It's like I get you on the grounded, but there's a reason why, like, even when you said grounded, like it was in the air quotes. You're like, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm like, I'm hearing a
Yeah.
lot of other people's expectations around like this is what it should be, because other people don't know. Not everyone can fly, right? And so it's hard sometimes to be with high flyers when all you've ever seen are things from the ground. It's like the people and like and a lot there are people who haven't had an elevated experience or have the energy, have the access to that energy to be in that elevated experience for prolonged periods of time. They've ever like when I think about joy, to me, joy is giving people a chance to be in that elevated energy to see what it's like to be out there while also not being grounded, which I think for some people, if you're like, especially if you're like an earth element and all that stuff, like maybe grounded is the thing for you, but like you can be natural through air, you can be natural with clouds or stuff like there's still like you can still be of nature, right? Um, for me, I like the path I've been exploring for myself and other high flyers has been to be connected and to be centered. I can be centered in the air. There are times where I'm not centered at all and I'm like flipping and I'm doing all that stuff. That's one thing. But there's another thing to be centered. The World Joy Movement is an act of me being centered. I know I know exactly where I'm like I know me, I have my core in place and I can go up, down, the elevation could change, the weather might change and all that, but I am totally centered. It is not, it's not, oh, I need to be grounded. Okay, what's the practical things that can get done? It's not, for most people, it's not practical to have a conversation every day on an important and meaningful topic. Nor is it practical to then go and say, oh, we're not having enough. We should at least double, if not triple, these conversations. Nor is it practical to then come in and say, hey, okay, who's here? I'm going to be like, whatever this space needs, we're going to go and we're going to go with that flow. I had no intention of leading you through that the breathing and gratitude experience that we just went through. That was actually inspired by Tony Robbins. It's part of my priming exercises of the day to connect with gratitude and then to then listen to a question that's on my heart and have my heart be able to help guide me. I kid you not, I used to listen to that every single day from 2015 to 2017. That Tim Ferriss did a podcast episode where he clipped that out, and that would be like my day. Like I would do it at least once every single day. Yesterday, no lie, yesterday was the first day in probably 4 years that I went back and I listened to that specific clip, and it immediately came and had meaning in this conversation. It wasn't about being grounded and saying, here goes all the things that need to happen here. It was about being in being centered. Even when we're doing the exercise from the universe down to the center of the earth, it wasn't just keep breathing down into the center of the earth and feel yourself getting more and more grounded. It's like, no, your spirit, like you're not even tethered to this humanly body, like we need to be able to connect you in the expansiveness of it all, while still making sure that you're like core. And I think that's what you were saying, like you're fun, that like the spirit of you, the core of you lives. But whether that core is grounded or up in the air or flying through or expanded or whatever it is, you have options. I'll pause there. What's running through you? What feels true? What feels different? What insights or what rejections do you have related to it?
Man, I'm like, just to summarize for sake of time, and I just feel like my 0.5% or my 1% change from all the other conversations just rose in this one conversation to about 2 to 5%. Like the other conversations came together, and it's like this one leveled up for me. And what leveled up was the talking about groundedness doesn't really matter to me. I'm not built by the ground, because also groundedness to me is more associated with this earthly realm. It's ground, whereas I'm the spirit who's out there everywhere. But what really made me laugh was when you first started and talked about the elements in nature and the ground, and you could be the wind and you could be the air. And I realized what it means to me and what was what. And it brought me back to, I don't know how many conversations ago we were having about Little Mary, Big Mary, and which was Mariel Porter, Beverly Jean, and Mariel P. And Mariel Porter coming together to be Mariel P. I did a sketch that I thought I had shared with you, but I didn't. And so this is the sketch. It has Little Mary, Big Mary, the circular elements. The Little Mary has the water and air, and little Big Mary is the fire and earth. And they come together for love, and there's a spirit connecting them both, which equals exuberance of Mary P. Then we have the sunlight and the moon with the stars, and this is me on earth. But I colored too much. It's no ending. It runs out. It's like infinity for me. And I was like, wow, oh, that's Little Mary with the big heart, and this one with the excitement and the spirit like a star with arrows because there's no certain direction. She goes in all directions. Um, I started this right after one conversation and it kept evolving. I spent another few minutes because it was initially this, the analytical way I wrote it, which was notes about what each of my natural elements do for my life or do for me. And then I ended up sketching this little thing. And I was like, oh, I want to do more. And I did more. So it's like something with that just comes together for me. And like it really brings this another level of joy within this one conversation is like all the other it's equal to all the other conversations combined. So it's also more exciting because I'm like, oh, if this one conversation is equal to three past conversations, the heck is going to happen in the next conversation? And I'm like, so excited and I can't wait. And I mean, to think about how I felt at the beginning to how I feel like joy now. And I have to really start leaning more into my energy and elements and when I feel because I forget every single time I'm in the moment that what I was feeling earlier, that energy, is usually my warning, not a bad warning, but my signal that something great is about to happen. And because it feels so overwhelming, it's like really shaky, it's like anxiety. Um, I get to be like, oh my goodness, like what's going to change? Like something is going to change really just spontaneously. Usually it's good, but there's been times when it's not. It could be a death or something, or one of those things like a coincidence. This happens, but then this happens, and it's better. But I'm always on edge because I can't see it right then. But I'm like, it's like when I meet a person, like I see spirits of people. And it's like going into a big room full of people, full of spirits. And I'm like, okay, I need to narrow this down to this small group and need to talk to this one person. And I'm like, not knowing all of this is going on. It's like, oh, a whole bunch of spirits. What do I do? But that's how it feels for me. And I'm like, this just reminded me of, I keep getting these joy reminders of to lean into it. I already have that spirit and that energy. And even when it's like anxiety, like it's still the same. it's just on fire. It's that fire, Mary, ready to like, oh my goodness, let's go, let's fly, let's fly, and it's like I don't know, I've seen this thing, like I don't know if it's the movie Rio, something with this bird is like on this landing road, like he's an airplane, and he's like, I'm ready to fly. I was like, but you don't know how to fly yet. I just need to flap these things on my arm. And he's started flapping and he's not really going anywhere yet. And he kind of falls down and then he goes up and he's like, I got it. And crashes into a tree. So that's how I'm like a lot of times. I get this energy because I'm like, oh my goodness, this is something. And then the other part is like, you know, you're going to cash into that tree. There's going to be a tree somewhere, or you're not going to get enough running space to get up in the air yet. And that's that caution. Um, but I'm just saying, like, all of this just came to me like this. And everything you just said is like, wow, like, damn. And what really, really hits now, like in this moment, is that point about being a high flyer and being up there. The fact that all of this just came to me in this short period of time, a moment. I don't know if it was like a minute or two. That was very fast, which some people, they're grounded and it takes them weeks or months to come say, oh, all of this. But it really happens that fast for me. And I'm limiting it by like thinking that that's a problem. It's not a problem. It's not a, what were we saying? What's the word at the beginning? That's the thing, apparently, that I need to renew and that I have been away from a while. I've been setting it as in this box because it's a problem, it's an issue. When actually it's a very great gift and it needs to be renewed. And it's the thing that will probably propel me forward. Well, it definitely will because it's the ability to propel a lot of thoughts at once. I'm thinking about a lawnmower really like when I hear every time I say the word propel, I think about a propelling lawnmower. But it really goes like self flows just by pushing a little handle. You can really float on that yard. um, it's amazing.
It really is, Mary. I think we're at a place where we should complete here in
I
this
was just
because
gonna say before
yeah,
you, I was like, and I think I feel complete.
yeah, yeah. I like there's so much that can be said, but I think more than anything else, like this is it. It's like be in the spirit of this, be in the energy of this, to try and then try and translate this into words. And here goes my insight. Like I'll ask you about the insight for sure, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to like let's just let this be. Let's let
Yeah.
this be here, right? And like and keep bringing this out into the world and keep renewing and let's see. And you have like every time you share a picture, it lights something up inside of me. So like if there's ever a time where you want to go and share it inside of the World Joy Movement platform, feel free to do that like directly because it is such a cool expression. And it was so wonderful to see like here's the analytical version, you know, and then like and this, but like this is me. This is how everyone expects me to be. This is how I think I had to look at it. Here goes the analytical side.
Yeah.
This is the
This is me.
Mary, 8 years old, at a party, dressed up to the
Yes.
nines, like had like
And I
everything's
even
about
had it
like, and you just
colored.
allowed it.
This
Yeah,
is like all blue
yeah,
and white, and the other one has like all different
yeah,
colors.
yeah. It's so expansive that it doesn't fit on the page, and that was intentional too. Like it's really quite like and I think part of the reason why I'm saying feel free to share the drawing is that I have a sense that like part of your flying in the world is through the communications of your drawings, what that does to the world for both you and others. Like your thought leadership might be drawn drawn leadership, you know? And it's like, here goes the image. And then from there, everything else flows out. So I just want to just keep encouraging all of you and know that like all of you has space. All of you is welcome and is desired in this space here. Fly high. And like we can talk about continuing to stay centered. We can talk about being connected with the elements, but like fly. Like if that's what you are here to do, then let's make sure you can do that in whatever way that it is. We'll surround you with people who are grounded, and they can meet and let you know where you are relative to the earth. Cool, you know. And if you want to come down, sometimes like birds are on the ground sometimes too, but it's not where they live. It is a temporary respite, you know. And my thing is, I haven't watched that movie with the bird that went and crashed into the tree, but I'm assuming
I
that
think
that's
I've
not how
seen
the
more
movie
than one
ended.
of those.
Okay. I'm assuming that's not how it ended though. I'm assuming that bird didn't just say, and now I'm done. You know, it's like great. And then it flew again. And it's like, would you miss out on the gift of being able to fly anywhere just because a few times you hit a tree? It's like that to me feels like a worthwhile price to be able to have the ability to fly anywhere that you would want. Less other while other people are like, well, I might hit a tree. I'm never going to use these things. I have these gifts on the side of me, but I'm not going to use them. I'm just going to use my legs because who knows what might happen. It's like, I'm pretty sure. I think this is it. I think I just got to use these things. I think I just got to use it. And boom, I might hit a tree the first time. Cool. I use it again. This time, don't hit a tree. Cool. I didn't hit a tree. We're moving, you know? So let's end this here with one insight, one takeaway, one thing that you want to carry out into the world as a result of the conversation that we've had here today. What's one insight? What's one thing that you'd like to carry on going forward?
Space is created when you create space.
Thank you for that, Mary. And with that, we will close and complete this space here. It's been great to be in conversation. It's been great to be in space with you. I look forward to flying with you further in the movement and beyond. Keep being you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's the World Joy Movement. Yeah. What was your greatest insight from this conversation? And if you want to come and be a part of a conversation like this live, it's really simple. Just go to beworldjoy.com and come introduce yourself and let's take the conversation to the next level because you're there now. All right, let's play.